Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to share something incredibly personal and close to my heart, and that is my experience and what I learned in rehab. If I hadn't ended up in that situation, I might not be here today. I might be dead. So I was forced to confront the reality of my situation and do something about it. And it was one of the most difficult things and choices I ever had to make. But the moment that I decided to do it was the moment that things started to change. Even in that second, mentally for me, asking for that when asking for help with something as simple as making dinner was a gigantic challenge. That was a huge step forward for me. That was a sign of strength in a part of my life that I never thought that I had. So, now I'm in rehab. And one of the first things that I learned is the power of vulnerability. Rehab is not just about quitting substances or changing unhealthy habits. It's about opening up and facing the root cause, and a lot of those root cause are behavioral and mental in nature. Naturally at first, when I was given these projects, very personal projects, goodbye and like a goodbye letter to drugs and alcohol, like a goodbye letter to my father, in an attempt to forgive him. And amongst other things, there was so many different of these assignments. And these assignments, I was forced to stand in front of, the staff at the rehab and the people, other, rehab goers that were there with me, and share this with them. And that taught me that vulnerability is one of the most profound tools that we can use in trying to become better versions of ourselves. I was so used to putting up these walls and hiding my pain and hiding behind these things that were meant to make me not feel my pain, and pretending that everything was okay. But very early on through this experience, I've learned that healing it comes from being vulnerable and honest, and not just with others, but with yourself. And even if you can't with yourself, if you can start with trying to be fucking cripplingly honest and vulnerable with others, then it forces you to start doing that more and more with yourself. And when you do that, you'll learn that you're not alone. Everybody in the world, in some instance, I'm sure there's a special case out there where nobody struggles at all, but everybody in the world, for the most part, is dealing with a struggle or their own struggles. And what we have in common in rehab is that we're all there to heal, and we're all there to move past something. And not everybody gets it, not everybody does it, and not everybody is willing to work towards it when they're there. They're just there for the ride. But they ended up there for a reason, and that was the reason. Sharing my story and listening to others and allowing myself to be vulnerable not only, helped, but it created a bond of people that are willing to support and that you're willing to support, which is paramount when you're trying to get clean. I think that the most important part of getting clean is the fellowship aspect. That's the biggest tool that we have. But through vulnerability, I learned that I don't have to go through life, love, anything alone. Vulnerability is what brings us closer together, in a sense, one of many reasons. And this is probably the most important thing I learned in rehab, which is and in life. This has been such a paramount thing that for me every day in life is self-awareness, and by proxy of self-awareness, presence, and appreciation. 1 second, I will be right back. All right, we're back in self-awareness. I was very good at blaming external sources for my issues. I was so good that, in fact, it crippled the fucking shit out of me when it came to taking responsibility and finding my part in things. However, in rehab, this wasn't very hard to get past because there was a very distinct reason that I was there, and there was no avoiding that. There was no denying that my own choices had fucking influenced where I was in that moment, and so it was glaringly obvious. And through the exercises I had to do, through therapy sessions, mindfulness practicing, and a lot of reading, a lot of writing, journaling, beginning to kind of peel back what the fuck was, my emotions and what was bothering me. I had no choice. It became glaringly obvious that I was my biggest, worst enemy, and that I needed to take responsibility for my own actions. And that doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything, but understanding that the choice is yours in most things. And like even a lot of times when you feel like you have to do something, you don't have to do fuck all. That's your choice. So self-awareness is still key to everyday life for me. I feel like I'm blatantly self-aware now, and I'm very grateful for that. And then another thing, I learned, the fourth thing I learned is a routine is something that we all need in our daily lives and beyond. I wasn't expecting to learn this there, but they, their job there is to get ready for you to go back out into the real world. And it's been proven to be very successful in keeping people sane and happy is having a routine, right? A routine and a structure are just a huge part in maintaining a balanced and healthy life. And in rehab, every day has a schedule. There's specific times for meals, group sessions, individual therapy, exercise, personal reflection. I wasn't even allowed to watch TV except for an hour a day, and a lot of times I found that I didn't even want to anyway. I'm not a big TV guy as it is, but after a while, you start noticing how the structure helps you kind of build a sense of stability and gives you a routine and like helps with things like your sleep schedule. When you're in rehab, usually, especially if you're in there for what I was in there, fentanyl, your sleep is so fucked off, and you're probably taking something to help you sleep, and so your medication is on a schedule, and the reason for this is life outside is chaotic, and it's easy to fall back into the habits that brought us to rehab when you have no routine. Especially you have a routine, it keeps the blocks of your day filled up, and they make sure that when you leave too, they try and kind of help you build a daily routine and structure. At least where I went, this was true. But having a structure in my life, it helped me create new healthy habits that replace the bad destructive ones. And it's not about being perfect. It's about having a plan and doing your best to take small steps towards following it. Even now, like post rehab, I still have to keep tabs on what I'm doing throughout the day and kind of set reminders on my phone and write things out, in a journal, in terms of like what I'm gonna do, and try and stick to those plans that I have for every day. And it doesn't always work. In fact, a lot of the time it doesn't work, but just having these routines in place and doing everything you can to stay aware of them and you know, doing the best of your ability to continue living through them. At least you always remain aware of the structure that you are trying to, you know, influence in your life. And that's huge too, because in the back of your mind there will be a reminder when you're doing something that you maybe shouldn't, like that I shouldn't be doing this, even if it's something small. And that plays in very big to one day if you might end up in a situation when you know something is something you really shouldn't do. Something in the back of your mind will tell you I shouldn't be here right now. And the fifth lesson that I learned while in rehab, perhaps the most profound and powerful thing besides presence, is forgiveness. And more importantly, self-forgiveness. And this was weird too, because I've been carrying around a lot of guilt and shame for things that I done, but I was very, very good at pointing the finger and blaming others of my past for me making those mistakes and things I was doing, namely like my father. You know, I'll tell that story one day, but you know, by proxy of how I felt, you know, I've hurt people, I've hurt myself, and you know, there's always this weight like on your shoulders. You feel guilty for making stupid decisions, you know, and I made a lot of them. But I also kind of felt okay by saying, well, I only made those stupid decisions because my dad was a fucking piece of shit and all this bullshit. And no, that's not how this shit works. You make stupid decisions because you're fucking making stupid decisions. But through time, I learned that holding on to that guilt was not helping me, and it was very, very well and truly holding me back. There was a very specific point at which I realized I forgave my father, and I realized I forgave myself, and I'll talk about those in a separate video because they're fucking very powerful. Those specific points were paramount in me learning how to be present and how to be aware of what's going on right in front of me. And those two specific points were what I believe are the complete turning point in me learning everything that I did in rehab right there. But through therapy and a lot of self-reflection, I came to understand that while I can't change the past because it's no longer here anymore, and I can't change I can't stop the future from happening. I can't even guarantee it's going to be there. I can change right now. I can change how I influence situations right now, how I influence myself right now in the present. And that is going to make, if I do 120% of the best I can in every moment that is right now, then tomorrow's moments will be a lot better off because of it. And, you know, sometimes it takes learning how to show yourself compassion. Sometimes it takes acknowledging that you've made mistakes, but that those mistakes don't define who you are. And forgiving yourself does not mean excusing these bad behaviors and excusing the wrong. Just forgiving yourself for doing it, understanding that people make mistakes, including you, and that we are not defined by those mistakes. We're defined by what we do to move past them. And forgiveness, it truly does allow us to move forward with our lives without the burden of guilt. I don't know if we're on 5 or 6. 1 second. I think we're on the 5th thing I've learned, because I talked about hitting rock bottom in the first. So number 5 is the power of gratitude. This last thing really taught me how to appreciate everything that life gives us, even the bad, because even with the bad there usually comes a lesson, which is positive in nature. It's very easy to focus on what's wrong in our lives, but the break that rehab provided me, and the tools and the assignments really helped in shifting that perspective. In fact, I found that I have a whole hell of a lot to be grateful for, and a tool that helps anybody, I feel like, do this is start taking a gratitude journal, making a gratitude journal, and it's essentially just writing things every day that you're grateful for that happened in that day. Or if you're just starting out, initially you start with like making a list of everything you're grateful for in your life. But I started keeping a gratitude journal, and when I started, I only wrote down 3 things I was grateful for every day. But and it does feel forced at first, but so that's what routines is they are forced at first, and then they become normal. And a gratitude journal is something I feel like everybody should try and implement into their lives as a normal, everyday thing. Gratitude really helps me with everything in life. It helps me stay grounded. Even when like negative things happen, the gratitude I have for life, it helps me stop and not react, but it gives me the time to develop a response to situations. And it's allowed me to appreciate everything in life, even the negative. And some of the most important things we learn in our lives happen through negative experience, such as what I'm sharing with you right now. But also the great things in life, it allows you to be even more immersed into them, and that makes the times that you spend, the happy times, even happier. And it helps in every aspect of your life, whether you know it or not. But focusing on the gratitude that I have towards this world and myself has helped me stay positive and motivated to keep moving forward with my journey. And that's all the lessons. But in conclusion, rehab wasn't just like a place where I went to stop doing dope and try to learn some better habits. There was a very real journey of self-discovery and growth that started there. I learned to be vulnerable. I learned to take responsibility for my own actions. I learned to forgive myself. I learned to appreciate the small little things and the big things and even the bad things along the way. It's not easy. Rehab is not easy at all. And it's not easy to continue to live through the lessons that you learn in there on the other side when you're out. But I'm really proud of where I am today. And rehab, if it wasn't for rehab, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be who I am. If you're going through a tough time, if you're dealing with some bad habits, if you're considering making a change, this is something I want you to remember. It's never too late to start doing the right thing. It's never too late to start making the right choices. It's never too late to fix what might be broken. Healing is always possible with the right attitude and mindset and the right resources around you. And the lessons that you learn through healing most definitely will change your life. Thank you so much for watching and listening to my story. I hope that somebody has found some sort of hope or confidence in this in any way. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe and share your experience in the comments below, because that's what this is about, is relating to one another. And hopefully one person out there watching this that might need to hear this will make a decision, or this will help in any way. That's all I want to do. I just want to help just one person at least. But share your experience down below, and maybe that might help somebody too. It's always good to keep this conversation going. Thank you very much for watching. Love you all. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. Bye now.